Hello, I'm the developer of Age of Sail naval war game that you can see on your screen now, Empires Under Sails. This game has several layers in the strategic, operational, and tactical parts of the game. Here I will try to give you an overview of the game, which is still under development, despite some parts of the game, like the tactical game, tactical editor, campaign builder, are 100% playable this moment. Okay, I will try to go through starting a campaign so you can see how it works. Okay, I start a campaign. Here I have the possibility to choose from these 11 countries. I will now, for example, take Russia in in 1780, for example. Yeah, the game can be played at this moment from 1780 till 1810. So I take this one. There are the possibility to play with fog of war or without. For the sake to show you all what is behind the game, I will play the game without fog of war. Also, there is a possibility to set up a difficulty for the game's difficulty for the campaign is only impacting the player. So easy means that the player do have more resources during the campaign. Normal is the design by default, and hard means that the player will have much less resources, so it will be more difficult to go along with the campaign. When we create the campaign, like I am doing now, I can pick up a slot to start. I have one ongoing campaign here. You can see the slot one. I would pick a slot 10 for this demo, and then the game is preparing the campaign. Preparing the campaign basically is to distribute chiefs, captains, leaders in the ports in the map. It takes some seconds, and at the end we will have a dialogue showing how many chiefs, leaders are sent to the campaign. Every time you start the campaign, there is a random distribution. This is uh, in another YouTube video. I will explain in detail all of this. So you can see here the campaign, the Russia campaign, 1780, that we have in this date 1,000 ships. And the database has been considered only from these 892 are in the database now. 478 ships are active, and 123 under construction, and 291 in ordinary, which is in reserve. Okay, then we'll start here, and after some seconds, it will open the strategic campaign map. Just a second. Okay, now here's the map. What we're going to do is to load existing campaign. So I go here, I will take this campaign, display it as Spain, 1805, okay, and okay, I will load it. Yeah, this is the this campaign which comes with the game now. It's a vanilla campaign, and it's already as a campaign which started in January. In January, and we are already in July. So there are 25 turns. Every turn is 1 week, but the execution of the turn is done in seven daily impulse. So, and you will see in the in many of the dialogues and logs, etc. We are talking always about week, month, and week. So July 1 means it's the first week of July on this year. Okay, so let's go first in the map. You see there are symbols here. Symbols represent ports, facilities. Facilities can be factories or could be raw material sources, and these symbols represent fleets. But okay, there is a possibility with K, show K, I, to move to change to icon. Uh, yeah, that you can see here. So, for example, this is Cadiz, a main naval base from Spain. Here you can see some factories, also raw material sources. Factories are connected to ports, and factories are also connected to raw material. Also, sometimes raw material is connected to ports. So at the end of the day, everything is connected in a way that you can move uh, goods from one factory to the port, or from the port to the factory. Include also these goods includes also money that you need to run the factories, but this I will explain later. Okay, so this is the map. In these bottom layers, we can take out, for example, we will take the factories now from the map to clean it a little bit up, and we'll keep without a strategic hexagon grid, and also the sequence arrow icons that you will see now. Okay, just take a few seconds to update the map. A second. Okay, it took first time you load to change the map. It take more time because it has to put it in memory. One thing, this important thing, this in this map, the map has seasons. These seasons are these areas are highlighted when I move the mouse on top of them, and seasons has in common uh, uh, all the hexagons inside the season has in common sea currents. Sea currents are these arrows. That means that when a fleet is moving in the direction of the arrow, has the current in its favor, so that means it's moving faster than when it's moving against the arrow, which are representing the predominant currents in the different seasons. At the end, this means that when you move from one port to another port across the ocean, in one direction, uh, uh, the, the the shorter in time route will be different than in the other direction. This is what uh, historically was happening. So this is included in the game. So I will take now the sequence from the map. Yeah. Okay. Here they are. I took the factories, and I took also the, the sequence. Also, it's possible to take out the grid, text grid, but I keep it for the demo for now. Okay, in this nations button, we have all the campaign status at this moment, which is include a list of the fleets. So here we list the number of ships which are in the different fleets nations of the game. So this is the first, second, third, and fourth rates ships in each of the navies, frigates, and rated ships, and the total. And this is a naval power. Naval power is calculated with the gun, uh, with the size of the guns. So its gun based on the size has a firepower that is used afterwards for the combat, and this is representing the naval power of the nation. Is the addition of all of these uh, five powers, individual five powers from the guns in the ships in the navy. Victory points is something that is earned normally in combat. Morale and skill is something that is dynamic. I mean, the game start with the national morale, average morale and skill, uh, with some random adjustment for each chip. And as the campaign develop, morale can increase or decrease, and also skill can increase or decrease based on many parameters. Also, the resources by nation is listed here, so you can see the money. Money is at the end is all, overall money of a nation. That means the money which are in the factories, in the ports, in the national treasury, is the whole money. Crew is available crews. Crews can be in ports, but could be in ships. So this is the amount of crews. Marines. Manpower. Manpower is the men that are used in the factories and the raw material sources uh, to produce goods for the campaign. This is the amount of storage resources, and we have also list here the maintenance costs for active ships and for ships which are in ordinary or in reserve, as you want. And this is the total maintenance cost per week that we need to pay, or the nations need to pay to keep the fleet working at maximum performance. Okay. Then here we have some buttons I call admiralty, so we can list the fleets. This campaign I'm playing without fog of war. That means everything is visible for me now. If I were playing with the fog of war, and for example I play as Spain, I will see only the fleets uh, which belong to my nation, but also other fleets are sighted or detected, will be also listed here with not so much detail information as our own fleets, but at least they will be listed here with the number of ships and and, and, and number of guns, but not more than that. So if I click on one of the fleets, I have here all the information. Fleets do have a number of ships, guns, naval power, readiness. Readiness is related to the capacity, to the supply, and other parameters that I will explain more in detail. The morale on this fleet, the supply, and also where it's located in the map. This case is close to Cartagena de Indias, the Caribbean Sea. The maximum speed of the fleet, that means the movements per day. Movements per day is calculated based in the distance of X in the grid, grid X in the map. Each X in the map, it's 125 nautical miles in this scenario, in this campaign. And then the route, the axis left, that is 0x means that this fleet was transiting from Lima, and now has arrived to its destination in Cartagena de Indias. I could disband, for example, this fleet. If I disband the fleet, the ships which are in the fleet will and even any commander in the ships will move to the port. Okay. So basically, you can list here all the fleets there are in the map now. and also we can see here the supply level. When the supply level is getting too low, the fleets automatically are flagged to return to base, RTB. We can also list the ships here. Again, I will only put the ships in my fleet now for this demo. The ships could be in different status. When it's operative, ready to be used, is inactive status. Building means that the ship is being built in a dockyard in any of the naval bases, or pending to be assigned for building. Normally, when you start the campaign, you only be able to have ships active or in ordinary, which historically on that year were in service in one of the navies uh, in the campaign. Ships which are arriving later in the campaign because they entered in service years before, after the campaign starts, are starting always in building. That means that the player need to build the ship. Building a ship costs money, costs hull and rigging kits, and hull needs a lot of time. Normally, a ship of the line could take nearly 1 year to be complete. A frigate a little bit less, and rate could be a few months. But uh, uh, construction, building the ships is part of the game. Many ships, especially when you are not in war, are put in ordinary. Why to put in ordinary ship or in reserve is to save some money in the maintenance of the ship. Also, maybe you don't have enough crew to uh, to crew all the ships. Then sometimes, or most of the time, you need to put chips in reserve in ordinary. When the chips ordinary, you only need to keep a minimum of crew for maintenance of the ship, and the weekly spend on the maintenance will be also much lower than a thief chip. Okay. Uh, Ports. Here is the list of the ports. There are three types of ports: main naval bases, minor naval bases, and trade ports. We can filter here by nation. This is still under development. There are still many more ports to be added to the game, but at this moment there are quite a few of them in the game. There's a color code here, so main naval base is in this light blue. Light green is for minor naval base, and for trade port is this, let's say, light brown color. If you click in one of them, you have here some information of the port, but also you can go directly to the port screen. You can go here from this port list, but also clicking in a port. Let's go, for example, to Ferrol, and we open Ferrol. From here, in the ports, there are some information like the content of the port, crew, marines, tactical leaders, captains, money. All of this is in the port. And here are some parameters, information of the port. But if we move to naval warehouse, here we do have all what is available in the port. We have here hull repairs, medical kits, rigging kits, food supplies, provisions, water, guns, different guns sizes, carronades. We also have ammunition to be used in the ships, etc. So this is the content of the naval warehouse. There is in each port there is also a trade warehouse. In trade warehouse we do have goods that are used for trading and also as raw material for factories. And you can see here some lists: clothes, coal, coffee, cotton, lumber, fish, food, fur, gold, grain, etc., etc. So in this case, because this is a naval base, there are no too much, there are no at all now goods to trade with. But we go to another to trade port or to another main port, which is part of trade route. You will see many of these with quantities in the port. If you click here, chip import, you have the chips which are only in this, which are in this port. If you click one of the chips, for example, which is active, just a second, it was here with Rayo. Ah, yeah, just a second. Yeah, I need to go again to, I think the problem was here. Sorry, I was clicking on the wrong side. Here, you click in the, on the with the right mouse, you can have several options. Go into ship details, ship history, rename the ship, so the player can decide to rename the ship. Put the chip in ordinary. In this case, the chip is active, so it can be moved to ordinary. Also, the chip can be a scrap. Maybe you need money, or you get a price chip capture in a combat, and you want to scrap the ship to get some additional money. This is possible. Also, you can assign a captain which is in the port. So these captains are now in the port, and if I decide to assign a captain to the ship, Captain Miguel Zapata, and assign it to Rayo. So it's in the list. But we can also see here ship details. Ship details, what kind of details we can see, we have in a ship. We have information about the gun batteries. So here we have the deck, the port and starboard. We have 6 guns, 8 pounders. We have in the upper deck, we have this some batteries. In this case, in each board, 16 guns, 18. In the lower, we have 15 guns, 36 in each board battery. And then in the forecaster, we have also here more guns. So all of this information is used during the tactical battles. Also here we have the crew and the marines. Speed is important because when you create a fleet, the fleet will not sail faster than the slower ship, which is part of the fleet. And hull points and mast points is used during the combats also uh, 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 to determine how damaged is a ship. There is a storage in the ship. In the storage in the ship, we have ammo for the different gun size, and also we do have hull repair kits, radiant report kits, and medical kits to heal injured crew or marines. It is possible also to have cargo aboard warship. Uh, Historically, warships were used to move sometimes money, gold, or some kind of valuable cargo. But if we do that, uh, there will be a penalty in the fighting capacity of the ship when the warship is using transporting cargo. Okay, we can close here. Also, if we go to ship history, Here we will have some data from the database, also a picture of a ship of the rate, uh, of the rate of the ship which is being displayed. And here is a campaign history. Campaign history means we start with the when the ship enters in the in campaign in status ordinary. For example, we assign a captain now, so it's also listed here. And then if the ship has participated or take part in took part in any battle, it will be listed also the battle here. And if finally the ship fate is sunk of capture, it will be also listed here. So for each ship in the campaign, we are tracking the history here. It's also possible. I will go, for example, now to this ship. Uh, to scrap the ship, I said before, I will do it now. For example, with this ship, Astuto, when I script the ship, it will take 6 weeks to finalize the scrapping of the ship. Uh, this is based on the efficiency of the port, and we get from the scrapping 500 hull kits, 6,600 rigging kits, and around 297 in money. If I decide to do it, there's no reversible, so I cannot go back to the decision, but I would say no in this case. I would say yes. This is a demo. So this is information that the ship is going to go brick. In fact, if I go back to ship vision, scrap it. Sorry. This was what other possibilities do we have from the port dialog? As also is to load supply in ships. At the end, by default, the ships which are in the port don't have supplies. Supplies means food, provisions, water. The ship, the port already has some quantities of provision that is increasing every week, small quantity, uh, but in general, you never have enough when you start the campaign. You don't have enough provisions, water, of food uh, to to make ready a complete fleet. In this case, because we already I already played the campaign for several turns, there are quite a lot of provisions here. I can, for example, say load selected, and then it will move from the port warehouses. We will move some food, provisions, water. This number has been updated, but also it's possible to load a lot. So you bring back all these provisions, food, and water to the port, or just say load all and see if there are enough capacity in the port to supply all the ships which are in the port. This is a previous action the player need to do, and the AI also, by the way, need to do before creating a fleet. Because if you try to create a fleet and save it, but the ships are not ready for going on into sea, then you will not be able to save the fleet. Okay, now there was enough. Uh, there was enough food provision and water in the port to make all ships ready. So now I can close here and, for example, create a fleet. I create a fleet. Fleets from here, for example, I will create a fleet with all the ships to patrol the Bay of Biscay, for example. Okay, and I have the ships here. I can even add a leader to the ship. For example, I will say Rayo. Rayo will be the flagship, and Antonio Descaño will be the leader of this fleet. I put a flagship, and automatically this Antonio Descaño is assigned to Rayo. Then here I can assign mission type, there is several types: patrol, blockade a port, escort a fleet, raid a port, transit to another port, or return to port. This is a status created automatically by the game when the fleet level of supplies is not enough to keep the fleet operating at sea. Okay. Then I say the destination here, Gulf of Biscay, and here is calculating the number of X's, the distance to the petrol destination, number of X's per day based in the speed of the fleet, estimated days to arrive, 2 days, so 2 impulse from one turn. And this is just a reminder that sea currents could add or deduct two knots in the road cost. Okay, if I save, yeah, I have a new fleet. In fact, if I close here and I go to flips, filter by Spain, I see here the fleet I just created in Ferrol. I can view the fleet from this menu. This is the 4 ships of the fleet with destination Gulf of Biscay, and its mission is a patrol, and the commander or the leader of the fleet is Antonio Descaño. Okay, so if we go back to ports, I will click again here in Ferrol. Another option is shift transfers. Shift transfer is a dialogue where we can move goods, or there are supplies, money, guns, ammunition, cargo. We can move from port to ship or from ship to port. This is a dialogue. We use, for example, here we have crew in the ship, or marines. We have the guns. We can move in both directions. For example, money. If I want to move money from the port to the ship, here I select the quantity and I transfer it. Then this, if I do this, for example, with one of the with Rayo, which is still in port, despite I created the fleet, the fleet is in port until I run the turn. Okay, so I can move money to the ship, but in this case make no sense. This ship is now in the fleet for doing a patrol in the Gulf of Biscay, so no need to move to transfer anything. But let's assume that we create a fleet in Ferrol. We transit, for example, from Ferrol to Havana, or maybe Cartagena de Indias, and we want to, sorry, I cannot do it now. I have no warships, but I can still add merchant ship. When merchant ships are created specifically for trading or moving goods. So when you create here one merchant ship, it automatically gets a number. It's a serial number, and and then you can use this ship to move goods. So, for example, I will say transit from Ferrol to Cartagena de Indias is 31 X's, which are nearly 3,875 nautical miles, which would take around 18 days at the speed of this ship to arrive to Cartagena de Indias from El Ferrol. Okay, if I save it and I go again to ships imports, I see here the created merchant ship, the trader, which is these chips are always automatically supplied. It's not taking supplies from the naval base or from the port, because it's supposed that these ships are merchants and they have their own sources of supplies. So if I go now to uh, ship transfer and I pick up this trader, I'm deciding to transport some money, because I assume Cartagena de India is low in money now, so I will move, let's say 5,000, for example, in terms of money, so more or less, yeah, and then I transfer to the ship. Okay, it's done. If I go again to the ship list in the port and I go to details of the ship and cargo, I see the money. The ship will move from El Ferrol to Cartagena de Indias, which is its destination. Okay, so that's another thing you can do from this screen in the ports. You can basically, again, we can supply the ships, we can create fleets, we can transfer cargo from ships to port, from port to ship. But what else we can do? We can repair and build ships. So repairs are done automatically in the ports when there is enough repair kits and hull kits and money to repair the ships, and it takes some time to repair completely a ship, depending on the amount of damage, of course, the ship has when it start the repair. Also, if there are pending ships to be in the file to start construction, you can do it from here. You select the ship. In this case, there are no available, and then you can start building. And that's all we can do from this. Yeah, sorry, I missed something. We can open here the different connections of the port with facilities. So for example, the port is connected to the dockyard, to the rope walk, to the foundries, to Arsenal, to the National Treasury in Madrid, in the center of the nation, and also to the, for example, this is the a chemistry. Chemistry is is a factory, small factory. They produce medical kits. And then we can move. For example, we have now here in the factory, we do have now uh, uh, no money, no medical kits, because all has been transferred to automatically to the port. But we can manually also transfer additional goods or money one direction or the other. For example, here we do have money in the Ferrol. We can translate money to the factory, to the foundries to produce guns, etc. So here are the connections that you can see. You saw before in the map, these lines that connect the ports with the factories. But here from this port menu, you can see these commanders. It's a list of all the captains and leaders are in the campaign. This is also an ongoing database. There are only few of the final list, but okay, enough to test the campaign now. Each captain have some parameters I use in the battles. So there are some seaworth, gunnery, leading, aggressiveness. These are different parameters of a captain, but also there are possibilities that they have traits. Here you have some traits. For example, crack gunner officer, boarding specialist. By the way, when you click in a commander, the map centers in the port of fleet where the captain or the leader is in. Idle discipline. there are this for example is captains, but if we go to leaders, we have here Nelson, for example. Then there are different parameters. This is command, tactical, inspiration, aggressiveness, and radius. All of this is used also in the tactical game. And also not also in the tactical game, but also in the strategic game to decide the chance a fleet is engaging another fleet based on the leader or the fleet commander parameters. And as in this case now, Nelson is in Portsmouth in the English Channel. Okay, so this is another actions or naval actions is historical battles that happen during the campaign. So in each, when there is a battle in the campaign, it is play, could be played in automatic, but also can be used, the tactical game can be used to play the battles. And here are the outcomes. So you can see here who won, what kind of level of victory it was, and the status of the ships at the end of the battles. I'm looking, for example, this one means it was sunk, that's the color. Light green means that the ship has no damage. Light, dark brown means that the ships had some damage, and red means that the ship was sunk or captured or fled the battle or surrender. Okay, so different options. So here, also interesting here is when you click in a battle, you see in the map, the map is centered in the place where it happened. We can close this and open losses. Losses list. Yeah, sorry, it takes some time. Losses of the ships that were captured or sank during battles. Yeah? And also here you have where it was, by who, and if you click in one, you move directly to battle, where the ship was captured or was sunk. Also, map is centering in the X where the ship was captured or sunk. From here, we can also go to statistics. Now we are starting of the campaign, so there are only losses in Britain and France. You see here, captured or sunk. Also, if there are captains or leaders are captured or killed, will be also listed here. Yeah. So this was admittedly buttons. Now we can go to economy. We go to economy. There is an overview. In this case, as I said before, and not with fog of war in this campaigns, all the information is visible for the player. So if I go, for example, to this is treasury, is the amount of money that we have in the central bank, so to say, of the nation. Weekly income is the amount of money that each week is coming to the nation. There could be many events that make this amount increase or decrease. We will see this later when we talk about events. This is the available money. Available money includes all the money, including the treasury and the money which are in the ports or in the factories. So it's the whole amount of money which the nation has at this moment. This is still not working. I'm working on this to track also trade spend and trade gain and cargo, but it will be soon in the game. This is the active maintenance cost per week, and the ordinary maintenance per week means ships which are active and ordinary in each fleet, and this is the full required money for maintenance, and this is the paid. When 1 week there is not enough money to pay, then the money comes to this column, and this has an impact on the morale of the fleet, of the crews. in the fleets and the manpower, because we don't have enough money to pay them the, let's say, salary or payroll. This is some information, national economy, and this is production. Just production list. I can filter here, for example, for Spain. Production is all the factories and raw material sources. So you can go through all of them and see here in production inspector if they have the required conditions to produce. Normally, you need money, you need manpower, but you need also, depending on the type of factory, you need some. For example, if I go to here to produce whole kits, I need timber because it's the wood at the end to produce these whole kits, and I need money and I need manpower. For example, in this case, the production is stopped. I stop it, but I can start the production if I click here. But you see the color now is not green like this one. When the color is not green, is brown, means that something is stopping the factory to produce. In this case, what is stopping? It's money. You see, I have the manpower, but I don't have the money to produce uh, 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 whole kits. So I need to send money to this factory. Okay, I will put it again. Stop. That's all. Here is a national treasure, Spain, which is a national treasure. It's like central bank. Here is the money that we get weekly, and this is the amount of money which is now in the national factory. Okay, this is from here. You can also look at the warehouses in the ports and the production log and which is being produced or what has not been produced because of any reason. Okay, so that all the information is here. Then we go to diplomacy. Diplomacy is essential in this game because the nations go from being allied to being at war with a lot of intermediate status situations. At that moment in this campaign, you see Spain is at war with Britain. It's in cordial with Denmark, France, Sweden. Britain is at war with France and Spain, and has as allied Portugal, but only for port access and trade agreements. And okay, also Russia is hostile to Turkey, and you can see a lot of different status. France is tense, has a tense relationship now with Portugal, for example. Here are the relationships. If you click on one of them and you are the player, the player can click on one of these to improve or worsen these relationships with another. For example, if I click here in Britain, we are already at war, but maybe I want to propose Sweden a trade agreement. Okay, player diplomatic action must involve the player action. Okay, sorry. Here I need to go to Spain, Sweden, here, okay. And I say, okay, I want to offer a trade agreement. Player diplomatic must involve one player. Again, sorry, I'm I'm clicking where it should be. Sorry, I will list my nation. So if I go to Spain, Sweden, here, okay. Now we are cordial, we are. But if I offer trade agreement, in this case, Sweden accepted the trade agreement. Only due to this if we go Spain with Sweden, now there has been an increase. This plus 16, before it was 0, it's plus 2, I think. It's because of this accepted agreement, trade agreement between the us. Of course, you cannot move from one hostile or tense situation to an agreement without going in the different intermediate status. Here, also, it's important to understand the AI, which is controlling the nation, to have some kind of memory. So all the diplomatic actions are tracked by the AI to decide not only uh, in the last changes, in the last weeks developments, but in the history, the campaign history, to decide if the nation takes a diplomatic direction or another. Okay, this is victory. This is still under development. It's working, but it's not still fine-tuned. Basically, this victory in this campaign game is different, has different meanings for the different nations. Each nation has a specific objectives. You can see here the different objectives. So the way we play each nation as a player in the game should be different, or must be different, to deal with the different objectives that we have as a nation. These objectives are done in a way that you are basically are playing against you. You are playing your own objectives. So that means that even a small fleet nation, like let's say in this case, for example, uh, Portugal or Naples or Denmark, etc., is able to win the campaign by achieving uh, above its targets objectives. So it's that's so also that means that normal big powers, Britain, France, do uh, have to do much more to cope with these targets and get victory. Uh, Again, this is under development, but this is the concept. There are several parameters are changing during the campaign, and these parameters are has more or less impact in the nation targets depending on the uh, 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 objectives. You can see here when I click on one nation, the strategic objectives of the nation. For example, if we go to Britain, for the main target, the campaign is control the seas, protect trade, locate enemies, capture chiefs, and maintain alliance. If we go, for example, to Spain, it's protect treasure routes, keep bases safe, preserve the fleet, and support allies without catastrophic losses. So, as you see now, different targets. Again, if we go, for example, to Russia, preserve naval power, maintain economy and morale, gain prestige, and avoid collapse. The problem with Russia, for example, is has a relative big navy for the resources uh, it has. So economy is also something that you need to keep an eye. You are playing as Russian in this game. Okay, that is victory statistics. This is just for the player to track. You can track here till 6th month. Every month, these four main parameters of the national campaigns are updated. So naval firepower, money. You see how the money is going down now. With some stabilization, for example, here and here. Normally, the AI is taking actions in a medium term. If the AI sees economy is going down, to preserve and to avoid to go in collapse, in bankrupt, because if a nation is going bankrupt, it's automatically out of the game. Victory points and also national morale. You can see some cases increasing, decreasing, depending on many parameters. Uh, it's uh, too long to explain now. And there is also AI here button where we can see the AI memory, as I mentioned before, and also the grand strategic and uh, the current values on these different pairs. So basically, this is the buttons you can see here in this strategic campaign. From here, you can load, gain. Of course, you can save. I can save in this slot, example. Yeah. And let's move to trade. Okay. First, okay. Trade. Trade is where in each turn there are the possibility to do a match trade. AI and the player can decide to sell. Okay, at this time it's already executed, so we can do nothing, just to look at the reserve goods and the contract signed in this turn. So basically, the AI nations and the player decides to sell or to buy a good. For example, I need to buy cotton, or I have cotton in Cadiz. I can sell, so I put cotton, an amount of cotton to sell at the cost. I decide the cost. As a player, I decide the cost. AI decide the cost. Then I can list also several goods in several ports to sell, but also I can decide I need to buy something. So I offer to buy, let's say, iron at a cost unit, let's say 3. So I put 3. I want to buy 1,000 units of iron at 3. And then when I click here in match trade, the game is matching all the offers, and requests, and if they match in the amount of minimum maximum money, automatically the contracts are created, and the money is moving from the purchaser to the seller nation, but the goods are reserved, as you can see here, in the ports. So the player and the AI need to send merchant fleets, traders, to pick up the goods. So it's not moving magically from one port to the other. You need to move. This is creating also a flow of trades, of traders in the map, which of course are targets for corsairs, for enemy fleets, and could be also impacted by storms at sea. So basically, we are paying for the good, but we are not sure that at the end of the day we will get the goods in our port. But okay, this is part of the game. Here is a report from the last month. Sorry, from the last turn, last week turn, and there is a summary. There is some detailed information on the economy, in the weather. In each day and season, there are potential effects of the weather. This is impacting sailing of the ships and combats. So this weather has a role in the game. Fleet supplies. This is some for the player fleet. Some warnings when a fleet is low in supplies. Encounters are the encounters at sea. When two ships are encountered at sea, there is a chance they end in a battle. And these are the encounter decisions. Encounter decisions are taken only by ships, by fleets of nations which are in hostile or at war, not for neutral or others. So, for example, these are all the different sighted ships, fleets, sorry, during the ship, the turn, and these are potential battle encounters. At the end, from these encounters, all of them end in battles. They need to be that was already played, in fact, because this if not will be listed here. Yeah. Events. This is random events that could happen. It could have several impacts. It's too long now to explain all the full list of events, but events will take specifically in one area, is impacting ships, impacting crews, impacting ports, impacting trade, it impacting all aspects of the games, and it could have a duration. For example, in this case, there is pressure, alliance pressure between Netherlands and Portugal, and this will take during 4 weeks. And the effect is that during 4 weeks there will be pressure on these two countries to get another alliance. Okay. Standing events are events that started in the past and still are ongoing. There are quite a few of them here. Some examples: commercial boom that increase income, the weekly income of, in this case, France. Dockyard strike, in this case, in Keystone port. This is impacting shipbuilding if they are active. There are peace movement, private boom, smuggling surge, timber shortage that impact also in the whole kit factories, powder shortage, bad harbors, blah 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 blah. Quite a lot of different kind of events. There gives the game also randomness, so it's not everything cannot be planned without sooner or later one of these events breaking your plans. Here is a victory change during this turn and A orders. So, okay, when I click here in turn, a new turn will be executed. It will take several seconds. It's everything, trades, movements of the fleets, encounters, weather report, economy, movement for raw material from sources to factories. Everything is calculated when we start another turn. Second. Yeah, the duration of the calculations, it will depend on how many fleets, how many are in the maps, etc. So here is again this report that we can go through. This report is also moving to this button report. We can use events. There are no events in this, and there is one battle to be resolved. Close. In fact, you see this here in pending. The pending button is red when a battle is pending to be executed. If we click here, we have the different encounters and decision taken. For example, in this one we can see here that there was a trade convoy from France and a squad from Britain. They meet in the Grand Banks, but France's decision was to evade Britain. At the speed of France is faster than the fleet, the British fleet. So at the end, interception chance was too low, and finally, France was able to, French fleet was able to avoid the combat. That's also, so that's the start of the debate. And this is, if we go here to strategic battle, this is a pending battle. And the pending battle, we can, here is where tactical game can be used to resolve the battles. If you launch here, resolve, you can decide how you want to, how do you want to resolve the battle in the tactical game. It could be player versus AI, AI versus AI. In auto mode, but auto mode has its own button here, so this is a legacy menu. I need to take this out from the menu. And manual. Manual means that you can manually put all the information of the battle. This manual can be used to play the battle in another game, or another system, or a board game, or in a miniature game, whatever you want. So player decides at the end what is the outcome or each chip and the battle, etc. And then the campaign take this information automatically into the campaign. Also, if you play you resolve the battle in the tactical game. You finish a tactical game, it automatically get feedback of the results in the campaign. But for sake of speed, uh, we are going to resolve this in auto now. So you click here in resolve in auto naval action. So you see some messages, and at the end, uh, 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 the result of the battle. Uh, you go, you close here, and you open actions. Here is the last action. So you see here that that it was a victory for France because uh, the the British fleet fled from the battle. Okay. Okay. So now we are in the next turn, and this is where we can see what I explained before. I can, as a player, I can put, for example, cotton in Cadiz. I can sell 5,000. I will put a relative low price, maybe 3. At and I decide also I decide also to sell sugar, sugar coming from Cuba. Uh, and I will put a very expensive price just to show how it works. Let's say 20. Then the AI is doing the same as I do it now as a player. I don't know what are the nations, what are. And then it's like a kind of one round uh, match trade. So I click in here, and there are 31 contracts. For example, I can see the France is buying cotton, also sugar, by the way. I know sugar is from Denmark, from us. If we go to the list of the contracts, we will see that we are selling cotton because the price was relatively attractive, but we are not getting any sugar sale because the price was too high, so it didn't match any of the potential purchasers maximum money per unit that they decide to pay. So that was the missing part we were talking before in the trade, and this is basically what is currently in the campaign. What is missing in the campaign is some additional options like letter of marque or corsairs, and invasion of ports, or invasion of ports, for example. So this is will be added to the campaign level. Now, as you saw, it's playable, but still I'm working hard to add missing ports, missing factories, to adjust parameters, etc. So in this first video, I was just to give you an overview on the strategic campaign, I will create additional videos to explain tactical game and editors. Thanks for your time. In the link below the video, there is a link below the video. There's a link to the website of Empires and the Sales. Thank you for your time, and see you soon in the next video.